Have you seen the top 10 deadliest jobs in the world? The first annual salary 1 million. Do you dare to go? A life and death contract must be signed. Silver mining attacks have a mortality rate of up to 10%. This issue of the Eye of Science, we will take stock of the 10 deadliest jobs in the world. Please long press like, comment plus subscription. Let's find out. The 10th mountain road driver. When you're driving on a smooth highway. Have you ever considered a driver driving on a mountain road? How would it feel? The job of a mountain driver is simply not too dangerous. There are steep curves and narrow lanes. And down below is the abyss. And the mountain road driver driving cars through there every day. Over and over again. Even driving a car is extremely difficult. Controlled bus model. In some regions of the world, buses are the only means of transportation if the pathway passes through the mountains. Bus drivers must be extra careful. After all, they are not only responsible for their own lives, it is also responsible for the life of every passenger. Every turn is like a game of life. A little careless, the entire bus could slide off a cliff, fall into the abyss. Drivers must exercise extreme caution at all times. Precise steering wheel to ensure the safe passage of vehicles. Every corner. Those who enjoy the scenery may only experience it once or twice. However, drivers experience it all the time every day. Although the job is so dangerous, but there is still a group. A brave driver takes up the responsibility. Deliver passengers safely. The 9th tall building cleaner. If you have a fear of heights, then this job is definitely not for you. These brave workers risked falling from the sky to shine skyscraper glass. The reason why the tall buildings in our eyes are magnificent, it's cool because of the windows. They tend to be pretty neat. And this is all because of the high-rise garden. High-rise cleaning park. It's one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. They use a rope. Fasten yourself tightly with your seat belt from the top of a skyscraper. Jump with your back to the edge of the building. Wipe them one by one. Stunning heights and stunning environments. It put a lot of psychological pressure on them. They must overcome their fear of heights. Stay focused and calm. Working long hours at dangerous altitudes. This job also requires extreme physical strength, endurance, and agility. You might think jumping off the roof is the scariest part. But this is really just the tip of the iceberg. They have to be cleaned at breakneck speed. Every window. Even so, upon reaching the ground, high-rise windows can also get dirty. So they have to repeat the process every day. In case of sudden bad weather, not only will it fail, there may even be security risks. 8th cliff diver. Paris Olympics. Diving youngsters Kwan Hongchan and Chen Yuxi win the championship. Make countless people proud during the dive. The tremendous impact of water can easily cause damage to the eyes. Great damage! So have you heard of cliff diving? Cliff diving. Extreme movements have gained popularity worldwide in recent years. Popularity. The campaign was launched in 2011. Organized a few professional only. Cliff diver. Participated in the competition. Cliff diving originated in Hawaii. The locals believe this way can prove your courage. After all, the word cliff jumping sounds cool. Most dives are between 15 and 20 meters high. The highest will even exceed 30 meters. Jumping from this height. Diver. The speed at which it touches the water can reach 90 kilometers per hour, almost as fast as the car. This kind of impact can easily cause serious injury. So, professional cliff divers competing in the competition, they have to go through intense training. They have to spend every second jumping off the cliff. All respond. Even at every game. There are various safety precautions and staff. People also break bones from accidents or drowning. Therefore, cliff diving has become the most terrifying in the world. One of the most dangerous occupations. 7th place. Underwater welder. Have you heard of underwater welding? It sounds like an impossible task. It's not. Underwater welding is an extremely difficult profession. As the name suggests, underwater welders weld at the depths of the ocean. The #1 challenge they will face. It's the harshest underwater environment, working in the depths of water. They have to withstand high water pressure and extreme temperatures. Huge water pressure can cause severe stress, heavy victory discomfort while working in cold water. It also causes a drop in body temperature, increased job risk. They often work in confined spaces, surrounded by complex underwater structures. This further increases the difficulty of welding. Of course, life safety is of paramount importance. Underwater welders must take extensive precautions to prevent accidents from happening. If you're not careful, you can get electrocuted and drown. The weight of the diving gear plus the resistance of the water. It takes underwater welders strong physical strength and endurance. They must also have exceptional buoyancy control, exciting and complex underwater environments. Of course, this job requires much more than that. It is said that this job can pay up to $300,000. So would you like to try? 6th Snow Mountain Builder. The world's highest peak, Mount Everest. It has attracted the attention of thousands of mountaineering enthusiasts. Thousands of tourists flock there every year just to break his own limit record. A moment of your own bravery and fearlessness. During this time, they will face avalanches, risks such as falling rocks and extreme cold. It requires a great deal of mental endurance. Thin air can also cause respiratory and physical exertion. It gets tougher. Therefore, Everest climbers must possess excellent endurance, strength, and agility. However, in order to get them to the top of the mountain safely, the local Sherpas must first open the way. In addition to setting routes on glaciers, they had to put ladders in special places, helping tourists reach beyond the usual depths. Huge cracks thousands of kilometers away. Carrying a huge ladder up the mountain, it's no longer easy, and they still have to build it. They first move the end of the ladder, throw it to the other side of the crack. In the absence of any fixed situation, you have to climb over in advance to secure the ladder. Without paying attention to the ladder, there is a risk of slipping. They're used to it, but also very dangerous, due to the avalanche on the mountain constantly changing the terrain. Snow mountain architecture. People can only keep seeking and blazing new trails. It's easily one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. 5th Air Patrol Officer. Although you may not know it, air linemen, what it's like. But what I'm going to tell you is, they are the most important elements in our daily lives. Important people. The current era of network power. If there is no air patrol, electricity will collapse. The whole world will be paralyzed. Air linemen working at height. It's a huge challenge in itself. Strong winds could come at any time, blowing man crumbling. At an altitude of tens of meters or even hundreds of meters, the wind is much stronger than the ground. If you are not careful, you may be blown over by the wind, fall from a height, and they carry high voltages. A slight accidental touch to the charged part could cause an electric shock. Instant danger, even with strict safety precautions. But in a complex operating environment, unexpected events can still happen. Operators must remain on high alert at all times. Operate in strict accordance with the operating procedures. There can be no sloppiness and slack in the slightest. Fortunately, these brave workers are well paid, and there are also good benefits. But no matter how much, it's not worth joking about life. So, you want to be an air lineman? The 4th Volcano Explorer is in our memory. A volcano is a kind of asphyxiating existence. There is no grass for 100 miles, enough to show the extent of his destruction. However, there is a group of people working on the volcano. They need to recognize the signs that the volcano is about to erupt, assess latent risks that may arise in the work. Volcano explorers. The first challenge is the high temperature. When approaching the crater, hot lava exudes unbearable heat. The air seems to be burning. Toxic gases from volcanic eruptions, also a huge threat. Sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and other toxic gases pervade the air. Once inhaled, it can cause serious damage to the respiratory system, even life-threatening. When a volcano erupts, flying rocks and ash, like a cannonball, extremely fast, huge lethality. The explorers were a bit careless, could be hit by these high-speed objects, cause serious injury. In addition, unstable terrain is also a major concern. The ground around the volcano, often because of rocks, the flow of pulp, and the movement of the Earth's crust, rugged. Explorers walked on such terrain. Something unexpected could happen at any time. In a desperate situation, people who do this job, they must be true warriors. A 3rd sulfur miner is searching for a mine in Indonesia. There is such a group of people They are sulfur mines. Workers are usually in Indonesia, mining near the crater. It smelled of sulfur. Long-term exposure to such an environment. Miners are highly susceptible to various respiratory diseases. It can even lead to more serious health problems. The terrain of the mining area is complex and unstable. Sulfur is often found in steep hillsides and cliff edges. The miners were climbing and hauling sulfur. If you are not careful, you may stumble and fall. Every step is like hovering on the brink of life and death. High temperature is also sulfur. The severe challenges that miners must face. Sulfur gushing out of the ground is often accompanied by high temperatures. The temperature in the mining area can reach tens of degrees Celsius. You work in these incredibly hot conditions. Miners are prone to heat stroke and dehydration. The burden on the body is extremely heavy. Of course, the corrosiveness of sulfur should not be reduced. Direct contact with sulfur may cause burns and damage to the skin. Long-term exposure may cause skin diseases, etc. Chronic disease, working in such a harsh environment. Their monthly income is only 4,000 yuan. Due to being in such a harsh environment for a long time, they don't even live beyond 50 years on average. The third place reads Jew gardener mentions gardener. We tend to think about the intersection of art and green. They keep the plants extremely bright, filling the society with life. But you know the seemingly leisurely job. Would that be considered dangerous work? Certainly not for ordinary plants. But when it comes to poison pigs, it's not going to be easy. Some of the most beautiful plants. It could also be the deadliest. Toxic agents in the UK. You can find the most beautiful place in the world, but it is also the deadliest plant. If you have a garden, you need a gardener. The garden was founded by the Duchess of Northumberland. It's about 200 years old. He built it for a black peculiar tourist attraction. Every plant in the garden is poisonous. Some of them just require a few nights. Can cause death. Some can burn the skin for up to 7 years. Therefore, it is also known as the most poisonous garden. To prevent plant poisoning, all the gardeners in this garden, they must wear protective clothing to cover their skin, eyes, mouth, and face, to avoid coming into contact with any deadly plants. But even so, there is a significant risk of poisoning. So do you dare to come and experience it? The first Antarctic researcher. At the southern tip of the Earth, the vast and mysterious Antarctica, there is a group of intrepid Antarctic researchers. For the persistent pursuit of science, they set foot on that dangerous ice and snow. Antarctica is one of the coldest regions in the world. Temperatures are often as low as -10s of degrees Celsius. In such severe cold, the human body is susceptible to frostbite, even wearing thick winter clothes. It is also difficult to fully resist the cold invasion. Gale is also a frequent visitor. Wind speeds can sometimes reach dozens of kilometers per hour, even hundreds of kilometers, can easily blow people over. Blizzards come more frequently. Very poor visibility for the movement of personnel and the transportation of equipment. Extremely difficult. Antarctica is covered with a thick layer of ice. The ice is uneven. There are many cracks and ice chips when researchers are walking or conducting field trips. You can fall into these weapons without paying attention. Once you fall, rescue is extremely difficult. Lives are threatened at any time. The Antarctic region is far from human society. Long periods of loneliness, monotonous life, and thoughts of family easily lead to psychological problems. So Antarctica researchers can definitely be included. The ranks of dangerous jobs.